Hi, this is Larry London. Welcome to Border Crossings here on the Voice of America. Today, we are joined by a couple of music legends who are in, if I'm not mistaken, this would be their 7th decade as rock and roll musicians. Although they've started the band that we're talking about today called the Weight Band back in 2013. They have just put out their 2nd album. We have Albert Rogers with us, and he's on the top. And we have Jim Wieters, who's on the bottom. These are a couple of music legends. Welcome to the Voice of America.
Hi, how you doing? Glad to be here.
Good to be here. I'm on the top and he's on the bottom, but maybe on your screen.
Yeah, well, it's different on every screen and every computer, so I'll go with you're on the top then. But I wanted to ask you guys, so you guys have been together for a long, long time. How did you guys meet? How did this all start? You started with the band, but now you've got something called the Weight Band. So how did you put the band together? You were one of the original members.
I joined the band in 1985 and replaced Robbie Robertson when they needed a guitar player to bring it back to 5 people, and played till about 2000. Rick Danko, we passed away in the end of 1999 in December. And but during that period, on and off, me and Albert had a band together, and that's where Albert had moved up here and joined up with me, and we got together. That's how we started playing. And Albert's one of the best bass players, singers I ever knew. So so it's been great. It's been great. And how did the Weight Band start?
Yeah, 2013, right?
Yeah, it started about 2013, and that's right, Al. And we started playing. I started doing a couple of things called Songs of the Band with Garth Hudson from the band and Jimmy Vivino. Garth went his way, and Vivino went and joined Conan O'Brien's show. And it went over so well because with Levon, he had the Levon Helm Band. He hadn't been doing much band stuff, but so when he did it, people were so happy to hear the band again after that long break when the band ended, that we decided to let's do a few shows, and it went over so well. I said, man, let's keep this going. And Albert joined up with us, and now it kind of morphed into this band. We did an original record called World Gone Mad, which maybe we waited too long to put it out too early.
Yes.
But long story short, we've got a brand new album called Shines Like Gold. So we made this 2nd album, and of course we do band songs in the group, but we made the 2nd album just to put a stamp on who the Weight Band is, and we're really excited about it. And we did a couple of songs acoustically for you that you'll hear later in the show that you're doing. That we're doing.
Fantastic. Now, I do have to ask the sound of the band. Today it's called Americana, but you didn't use the term Americana back when the band got started. So
no.
That's the sound. It's kind of a Woodstock sound. If you could describe that, define it.
Well, to me, the Woodstock sound was like when I grew up here, you had Bob Dylan, you had Van Morrison living here in the late 60s. Dylan was here, and they combined folk music with electric guitars and recorded in their homes, but it was all really kind of knit together with folk music, blues, rockabilly, and to me it's that sound that came out of Woodstock. Bob Dylan meeting with the band, meeting lyrical songs that have meaning, and with acoustic music and electric guitars and keyboards. So it was a combination that really developed up here in Woodstock,
And a lot of people don't realize that Bob Dylan was a part of the progression of the band. I guess it was called the Hawks at the time that Bob Dylan was in the group, and he decided to leave. And if this is true, you got to confirm this story. I've heard this rumor that Bob Dylan and the Hawks, once opened or were the backup band for Tiny Tim. Is that true?
I don't know about Bob Dylan, but the Hawks. The Hawks did play. They did play. I think it was Levon loved characters, and knowing Levon, he had to love Tiny Tim the way he sang so high. Mm-hmm. And so I hear that they did back him up on some on a couple songs or something. But you're right. I could see that Levon just dying laughing, and Rick.
Now you recorded the new album, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, in a barn, in Levon Helm's barn.
Nope. We recorded that over at a place called the Clubhouse in Rhinebeck, New York.
Okay.
And we brought in about, we rehearsed one for a few days, right, Al, about to get some of the demos together, so we knew what we were doing a month later, and then brought in some more tunes, and we cut it all in 4 days, vocals, guitar work, everything. I did a few guitar overdubs at home, but everything was done at the Clubhouse in Rhinebeck in 4 days, the new album.
Wow. Hey, Albert, I want to ask you, being a member of the Wait Band and singing the songs of the band, performing the songs of the band, what's that feel like to you? I mean, how does that feel, getting on stage, full house, and you're performing?
I'm not worthy. There's a bit of I'm not worthy, That's those songs, especially when you travel to the Northeast and do those songs in front of people. You have to just, sometimes I have to pinch myself, when you're standing in Levon Helm's barn about to sing Stage Fright, and there's 75 people in the room that had a personal relationship with Danko. It's kind of scary. I got to tell you, I just try to pay a bit of reverence to the songs, but I never try to imitate Danko. It can't be done.
Has it always been music for you?
Always
Music.
I've been.
You knew this from an early age. How about you, Jim? I mean, has it always been music?
Oh yeah. I mean, I tried doing a couple of jobs when I was broke, but I wasn't very good at. I got stung by bees trying to paint a house once, and I didn't last too long.
Yeah, I started out playing this, a lot of in all kinds of different bands, but really got into more of the soul music stuff and did that throughout the 90s. And then I met Jim, and that whole thing started. And then I went from playing tiki bars to standing on a stage up in the Finger Lakes with Levon Helm and Albert Lee and Dave Edmunds, and so it blew my mind.
Yes, it's kind of surreal. I mean, when you think back on it, any musician's dream, and you're up there with the legends, with the biggest in the game.
I just stay humble. I think humility is the secret. I stay humble.
Yes, that's well, it's not always easy to do, when you got fans screaming at you and reaching out for you and whatever. I know that kind of becomes addictive. But you guys have performed on many stages around the world, many different sized audiences. Do you have a preference? Do you like the smaller, intimate settings, or do you like the festivals with 50,000 people?
I love them both. I can't say, when it's grooving, I just like getting in that little bubble with the band, and we're sometimes not even aware of what's going on out here. Get into it. That's what makes it. That's the high. Small crowds, big crowds, to me, didn't make any difference as long as they're good crowds.
How about you, Jim? Same thing?
Yeah. Basically that's it. I mean, if the band is on, I have just as much fun playing a small club in front of a couple hundred people as I do in a big stage with thousands of people, because you don't get that big connection, so there's something about a small venue that's really exciting, and they can hear your tone, what you're doing.
It's so much easier to get a great sound in a small venue as opposed to, when you're going, all these bands are going on and off at these festivals and stuff. The goal is to just get it to sound as good as you can, as best you can. Sometimes you can go in there and don't have any monitors, and you're standing in front of 20,000 people. It can be freak out. It can freak you out at the same time.
Yeah, you gotta make that happen. That's all.
There's a lot of technical stuff goes to big shows.
Making the magic happen with the music, so everybody's listening. That's what Danko used to say. You got to listen. Everybody's got to listen.
Now, the interesting thing, because you guys have done this for so long, I'm sure you have so many stories and experiences I'm always interested to find out, these different stories that you guys tell amongst each other over the years. Stories like when the sound went off in a venue, you were doing your thing and the electricity went off or the lights went off or someone forgot the lyrics to the song and turned to the next guy and said, oh, shoot, what's next? These interesting stories as you've evolved.
Yeah, one of my favorites is at one point when we had lost Stan Celeste, and I was playing with the band, and we were playing a show at a real fancy listening theater in the Berkshires, and we had Billy Preston, famous keyboard player, playing with us. The electricity went out on our side, so on the Danko side and the keyboard side, so we're doing a song, and Levon just kept the groove going. My guitar worked, and Billy Preston grabs Danko's arm, and they start doing a dance. Danko didn't know what to do, so he started dancing with Preston, and Levon was dying laughing. He was dying. Well, I was chuckling away. Danko's doing this with Preston, trying to keep up with Billy Preston, who's a good dancer. That was funny. Yeah, and the electricity went back on finally, but Helm just loved it.
Well, that's what makes the legends, is you guys can overcome any obstacle. Didn't matter what it was, you'd have to do it. You just do it. You're like, Albert was saying, when you got to go on, you got to go on and do it. You got
to go slow. You got to go
with the flow. So Jim, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say real quick that the little stories like he just told, those are, to me, I've always considered those little kisses from God, because you would not believe the stuff that we have seen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I know there's got to be some
just things that weren't really necessarily funny at the time, but 2 weeks later you have a story for the rest of your life.
Right. Groupie stories. You guys, people sneaking backstage to meet you guys and sneaking on tour buses. I'm sure that there's lots of stories of that.
Yeah.
Well, we've been a little light on the groupies lately.
Generally.
But I know they're coming.
They're coming.
This is about to get
a little
dark.
longer to get there, but they're coming.
But let's not go there. Yeah, it might take a little longer. With this new record, I'm sure they're going to be flocking. Going to need you, Larry, to beat them off with a broom. That's all.
Yeah.
We've got Jim Weeder and Albert Rogers of the Weight Band with us here on Border Crossings. We're catching up on the good old days of rock and roll. These guys were one of the founding fathers of rock, when it evolved back in the 60s and the 70s, the 80s. They're still doing their thing today. And what is Project Percolator, Jim? What is that?
That was after the band stopped at the end of 99 and 2000, I put together, I wanted to go completely left brain. I put an instrumental group together. I wrote an instrumental record, and I toured around, Europe and the States with that. And I did that for about 5 or 6, 7 years at least. And then I started playing with Levon, but and then slowly we got this band together, but until Levon died. But after Levon died, we put the Weight Band together. But that was something I did just for something I always wanted to do, and it was fun. I had a good time.
So what's your favorite show of all time, Jim and Albert? What's your favorite that stands out in your mind as your favorite show? Because you've done so many. What's been the favorite show and why?
I think for the Weight Band.
Yep.
For us.
Or for anything, for your career, for the Weight Band, for your career, whatever.
We've had so many. I think for me, when we played with Arlo Guthrie at Carnegie Hall.
Wow.
That had to do it. But there was a great show we did back when I was first started playing with Jim. It was Jim Weeder and the Honky Tonk Gurus was the name of the band. We were up in Canada, and I think we played in front of a huge crowd on the blues stage in
Montreal. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great
great
the
show.
high point for that band.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Jim, how about your story?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, there's a bunch of them that stand out. I think playing at the Berlin, when the Berlin Wall went down with the band and Ronnie Hawkins out in front of all those people, but it was, I think it was more important that the wall went down to me, that there was no wall, you know, and
The Roger Waters tour, right?
Roger,
Yeah.
the wall in Berlin, when that went down, I think it was 1990 or 1991. That was a big one. It had a lot of meaning, and with the weight, I'd agree with Albert. I think the high point for us to actually get into play Carnegie Hall and do our show, that was really important to us, and it felt great. And of course, this band, everybody's got such a great chemistry now, with Michael Bram on vocals and drums, and Matt Seiner on vocals and keyboards, and Brian Mitchell, who's been with the Weight Band from the beginning, from the Levon Helm Band, on vocals and keyboards. We have this chemistry now that the band is finally really coming into its own. Sometimes it takes a while, you know.
Oh yeah.
But I still, even with that being said, I'd say that playing the Roger Waters The Wall show in Berlin when they tore down the wall, I say that trumps everything, Jim. I think you can stop right there, man.
Well, it was important.
It blows my mind.
Significant event in history and in music history as well. And you guys were there, and you were at the front row, and you were a part of it. So speaking of being in the front row, we got 100 countries tuned in right now, millions of people around the world, and everybody wants to hear you guys play some music. So I'm gonna be quiet for a few minutes. Tell me about this song. You guys recorded it. The whole band got together to make this for us. So what's the story behind this?
Are you doing Out of the Wilderness first?
Whatever you want.
Yeah, you do that one. That tune co-wrote that with Colin Linden, my good friend and co-writer, and it was written for the band in the 90s for the Jericho album. And we never got around to cutting it. And it was written for Rick Danko. So I brought it to Albert, and for the new album. I said, man, see what you think of this, because I think it's still strong. And right now, coming out of the wilderness it's got a good meaning, you know. And so Albert loved it.
Yeah, I love it.
Out of it.
Yeah.
Where did you record it?
The same place, the Clubhouse. Today, the video you're going to see, we were down, we just got back. We were in the Helena, Arkansas, near Levon's hometown of Marvel. And we were doing headlining a festival called the Delta Blues Fest, a tribute to Levon Helm. And so we were down there, and we went into this room, and we did it acoustically for you guys. And I hope you all love it.
All right, let's check it out. Here they are, the Weight Band on Border Crossings. Border Crossings on the Voice of America. It's the Weight Band. And the name of the song again, the track was
Out of the Wilderness.
Out of the Wilderness. And the new album that you guys have out is called Shines Like Gold. It's now out. I imagine there's a world tour to support the new album.
We're working on that. We're going to go to Japan. The album comes out in Japan in May. And so that's the other side of the world for us.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you got to have some great places that you always like going back to. What are some of your favorite places to play? We have an international audience. So where are you going to go that, you always look forward to going?
You know what? We have a good time just about everywhere. I mean, go to Europe. People are all about the same everywhere you go. And they're all good people and they treat you right. They just love music. Music is the ultimate healer, right, Albert?
Right on.
It
is.
So no.
Yeah,
we like them
everywhere. I've loved everywhere we've been. I swear it's the truth. Just I can't pick one country I like more than another. Really, they're all great.
Depends on what you're going to eat.
You got to have a great feeling, though. There's probably nothing better than when you're on stage in a country that doesn't speak English and they know all the lyrics to your songs.
That's amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
That's just amazing. Well, we knock down walls, like you said. Music is definitely the international language, and you guys have traveled the world and done your thing for so many years. What is the inspiration for this second album now? I mean, you waited a few years between the first and second album. So what's the inspiration behind Shines Like Gold?
Al, you want to?
Well, just we just wanted to. It was time to reckon. It was just time. We had done one album together, and the band had changed so much since the first record. I didn't think it truly represented us, and it was just a sort of a current. It just everything changed. We're a different band, I feel, than we were 4 years ago. 2 or 3 years ago. It's just we had something else to say.
And COVID, of course, played a role.
COVID was part of it. I was holed up in my home, and there was no work at all, and it's the first time that's ever happened to me. And so I had nothing to do but sit and write songs. And once I started, I went every single day downstairs and started writing, and things started coming more and more as I did it every day, repeatedly for, we were off for about 1.5 years. So when it happens, I just focused on that. And I tried to, I think the whole album has a positive message,
Mm-hmm. And I really think Jim outdid himself on the songwriting on this record in particular, in the collaboration between he and Colin Linden was just, it was wonderful. I was blown away. It's amazing when these songs come to you as a skeleton, and there were a couple of them I were like, I just follow the weeder. He's got an idea, and if you do, I mean, he just blew me away with the songwriting on this. Absolutely.
Does everybody collaborate together? What's the process for the Weight Band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean,
so there's no one songwriter and one lyric writer. You guys all contribute equally.
If somebody has an idea, they throw it out into the soup, and Brian Mitchell brought in a couple of great tunes. I co-wrote one with Matt Ziner, and everybody's songwriting. So it's nice to have, and then everybody puts in a feel for everything. So
I really wish Brian was with us right now. I wish Brian was here.
Yeah,
he's he's great.
Yeah, next time we'll get.
He's got stories.
Yeah, well, when you guys come to DC and we're back in our studios, which is going to be the end of this month, and you guys come back to DC, come in. We'd love to have you in the studio. That would be wonderful to have you guys back, because we're talking with two of the biggest names in music history. These guys have seen it all, and Albert Rogers and Jim Weeder. These guys have played every stage, done every show. Mentioned, they were part of history in Germany when the wall came down. So many other things have gone on in your career. Now, Jim, if you had to pick, if somebody said to you one day, you got to pick, is it going to be songwriting? Is it going to be singing? Or is it going to be performing on stage? Which part of this business is Jim Weeder going to pick?
I'd go for the performing. I've always liked playing playing music live for people, and it's satisfying, and everything else is nice, but I like to get out there and shuffle around the stage.
Mm-hmm. Now you weren't with the band when they did Woodstock in '69, I think it was, but did you go to Woodstock because you're from?
Oh yeah. I had just gotten out of high school, and I was working making Davy Crockett rifles, and I ruined about 100 of those. Quit my job after a month and jumped in a station wagon and went to Woodstock, and I saw the band for sure.
Wow.
But I had met Levon and those guys around during that period. I'd met Levon and Rick and Garth way back then. And eventually we started working together. Thanks.
And I was 1 year old, I want to add.
You were 1 year old. You didn't go to any festivals at one.
I didn't, not then.
But in American music history, that is always the festival people talk about. I mean, and they just don't have festivals today like Woodstock, where people were just taking their clothes off, just doing their thing. Nobody minded. There was marijuana in the air all over the place. It was just a big party, and it was a love fest. I guess they called it, Summer of Love and the Love Fest. It was just a great time.
No fights, no problems. Everybody got along good, and I think we could use a dose of that right now.
Yes. And that's going to lead me to my next topic here is that, when you listen to today's music versus the music that you guys have created over the years and the decades, do you like what you hear now, or do you not like what you hear these days? You like the direction music's gone?
What do you think, Al?
Well, I do. I mean, you hear there's a lot of great music, a little stream of music that's running right under the mainstream everything. That there's still good music out there. It might not be what is commercially viable for radio or whatever, but there's good music out there. Just doesn't necessarily, do I like the pop music? Not much. Do I like? Right. I like the way that it's I've got a 14-year-old boy, so I'm kind of hip to what's out there.
You're gonna be a hip dad then.
Oh yeah, 21 Pilots and all this stuff.
There you go.
It's they're ripping off the 80s so bad right now. I gotta love it.
Yes.
All that quirky 80s stuff, down to the voices, even I dig it. There's good stuff out there.
And everything comes around, it's like a big cycle, I mean, Elvis becomes cool again, and that right. Stuff, the kids are just discovering it for the first time.
Right.
So it's amazing. But you mentioned, Jim, that the business has changed, or you mentioned, Albert, the business has changed. What do you think of the business today? I mean, it used to be selling albums. That was what it was. Now it's not selling albums anymore. It's selling songs, and people can buy these songs on stream. And so it's harder than ever to sell an album because everybody can cherry pick. I like that song and that song and that song, and they don't have to buy the album.
Yeah, the old days, a record, you couldn't wait for a new record. When Crosby, Stills and Nash and Young came out with Deja Vu, couldn't wait to get it. And every record had this meaning and a message, songs with a message and a story, which is like what the band was about, of course, Ellen. And you couldn't wait to get the album and listen to the whole album all the way through because it was a whole concept. And I think that that kind of divides everything. So I don't like that. I like the old way where you get an album and a group works hard on it to send a message out, and the whole record has this continuity to it. Now kind of divided,
Now it seems like the music's just a calling card to get people to come to your show. But on the other hand, you've seen all the biographies. Nobody ever did anything but whine about their record companies. So here you go. Okay.
Well, now you got your own record company.
And so it's easier nowadays. It's easier nowadays to make a record because you don't have to be in the same room. Whereas once upon a time, you couldn't do it. You couldn't phone it in from another part of the world. Now you can. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
It's amazing.
It's a medium, but I'm waiting to where they can just what do they call that thing where you look like you're there?
The hologram?
Yeah. So I'll be a hologram and I'll send everybody out and I'll be on the couch.
You'll be on tour with Prince. Is what you'll be-
Telecast.
both of you holograms.
Yeah, you could have 10 bands of yourselves out there.
That's it, exactly. Gary Garcia will be there, and it'll be a hologram of everybody to bring back the good old days. We've got the Weight Band with us today. It's Albert Rogers and Jim Weeder, and we're talking about their newest album called Shines Like Gold. They've got a tour that, you know, these guys are still doing it. What's the secret to doing it so long? What's been the secret to success? The secret sauce, as it were, for the Weight Band, for the band? What do you think that just keeps this going?
Well, you got to, like Danko said, you got to stay desperate. That was his line. You stay desperate. You keep working on your instrument. Don't get too fluffy. Right now,
That's right.
you know.
And so far we haven't had to worry too much about Fluffy.
Yeah. Always,
No,
you always got to think about that dream, or you know, as around the corner.
Oh,
And keep working hard on your instrument and vocals.
What song are you going to do for us next?
we're going to do, this is a song that Jim and Colin wrote together, right? Tall Trees?
Yeah.
Called Tall Trees. And Colin was also really close to Levon and, the boys. And I think that his inspiration for this was when, after Levon passed, he's talking about when he'd go up and basically hang out in the woods with Levon, and it's about his heroes. This song is about heroes.
Yeah, it's about hero. It's a song I wrote about really, it's about Levon, but it's about all our heroes, and it's about, I have some lines in there about going to, down to Helena, where we just came from, and the cotton so white, it looks like snow, but it's about, even though your heroes fall and they look like tall trees, all your heroes are like tall trees, whether it's a musician or our servicemen over there, and they stand like tall trees. Their memories will stand with you, and you'll never be forgotten. And so that's kind of where all those lines came to me.
Yeah. Well, here's the Weight Band, all together, Tall Trees, performing for us live here on Border Crossings.
We're rolling.
Like the tall trees stand here.
Border Crossings on the Voice of America, the Weight Band, and that's Tall Trees, a song that's written by Jim Weeder, who's with us today, one of the great songwriters of the last 50 years. Certainly written quite a few different hits for, you've written for other artists and other bands, I believe.
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Any songs that you regret giving away that you wish you'd have kept for yourself?
Never. You know, I did Remedy with Colin for the band and a bunch of tunes, and I've written for a lot of blues people. But no, it's the songs are meant to get out there and be played and sang, you know.
Is there a song that or a collaboration you wish you could write? If you could write for somebody, who would it be?
Boy, that's a hard one. That's a hard one to pitch. I'm just happy to be writing with the Weight Band, and I mean, I wrote for a song for Mavis Staples. We'll Have a Little Faith, and that was a single for her, and that was exciting. But other than that, I'm happy to be playing and writing for the Weight Band. I know this record's the strongest one yet.
Yes, yeah. Well, it's called Shines Like Gold, and I'm sure it'll be gold before we blink our eyes, and then platinum after that, and then you guys will back on the Grammys. And
oh yeah,
Best Americana album. Here they're, the Weight Band. Here they are.
All right.
That would be awesome. Now, you guys have had the chance to play, you know, since you've been in it so long, you play for so many different people and different generations of fans. You get to play for the kids, then they grow up and it's their kids. And that must be also a great gratifying feeling, is the fans stick with you, you know, as the Weight Band. You've been together a short time, but they know Albert, they know Jim, they've followed you guys around your careers. So they've been with you forever.
Yeah, they've been following us for quite a while.
Yeah, we do. We have a thing called Camp Cripple Creek that we've been doing for about 6 years now. And this year we got Joan Osborne with us, a great singer from New York, and Steve Kimmock Band. And we do a lot of classic band tunes, and it's workshops. So it's being a blast. We celebrate the band's music and our own, you know, and it's and that gets a whole gathering of followings that come every year, you know.
Never gets old, I'm sure. I'm sure you guys look forward to every show and every tour and every album, every song you write and record. It's got to be a great job. Greatest job on earth, I would imagine.
It really is. It really is.
I feel very lucky and especially with this group, everybody just works great together, and we have we do a lot of laughing.
Why did you call it the Weight Band?
Well, when it was starting at the very beginning, I didn't know what the heck to call it. So my friend says, well, why don't you call it the Weight, you know? Not a band, because we were doing mostly band tunes. We didn't have an original record then. I said, good idea, let's do that. And it just stuck with us. Everybody knows the song The Weight. Yes. It's a positive song about just taking a load off and helping your brother. And it just felt right. And we kind of we haven't changed it. Right out.
I love it. It's a great sounding name, the Weight Band. Shines Like Gold is the name of the album. We have been very, very fortunate. Jim Weeders and Albert Rogers, these guys are busy. They're on tour. They're in different locations right now, but I'm sure very, very soon you'll be in the same location, the same stage performing. And so where can people go around the world to find your tour schedule, find out what's happening with the Weight Band? Where do they go? You want to do that? I mean, Al, theweightband.com. Theweightband.com. Boy, that's easy. That's easy. Yeah. Weightband.com and Facebook, The Weight Band. Yep. Check in. Tour schedules on there, and we'll even say hello to you if you come on. Well, that's great. Social media has really opened up, a lot of doors and given people a lot of exposure and opportunities. And certainly during this COVID time, you couldn't go out and perform, but you could meet a lot of people. You could do virtual stuff and perform one show on the internet, and it's seen around the world because there's no limit to the web. But I actually started doing a family. My family would get together and do internet shows. My mother singing harmony, my daughter, my brother, nephew, and that was a lot of fun. Actually, I hate to say it, but some good things came out of COVID for me. Oh yeah, really being able to do stuff like that all of a sudden, and it makes you a heck of a lot more grateful
for what you had going on. You know,
and it teaches you a lot about yourself because you're with yourself a lot of the time.
Yes.
You can't go anywhere, do anything.
Yes. But we're coming out of it, right? We're done.
Well, fingers crossed. We are coming out of it, you know.
Out of it, and we're all going to be all back together again. And you'll be at our shows with a beer in your hand and ready to drink.
You guys want to say anything to the troops and to the worldwide audience tuned in before we go?
I do. I'm so grateful for those guys who just sacrifice it all so we can sit over here and complain about petty things. They allow us to take things for granted, and I think about it all the time. So God bless the troops, and thank you for what you do.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Albert. It couldn't be said any better. We thank them all their service. They're the best.
Well, we've been talking with Jim Weeder and Albert Rogers. They are in the Wait Band. They're here talking to us today about their illustrious career and the new album, Shines Like Gold. My name is Larry London. Thank you so much for watching. This is Border Crossings on VOA TV.